What is up, y'all? We're here for our weekly manifestation oracle message. I hope you're doing well. I am. We had a hot and busy night at work tonight. Not quite as busy as last night. But I had this profound revelation that I wanted to tell you guys. So remember yesterday, if you guys watched yesterday's video, I mentioned something about my tables. I mentioned that I was able to keep from evil eyeing or evil tonguing in complaints about like coworkers, but I still popped off about my table because they were just like a huge handful. They undertipped me by a lot and it was just really difficult. Well, I was reminded of that this morning when I was in my morning routine. I like to do my prayers, and I watched the video, the Daily Zohar, that I shared with you guys recently on the Secret Teachings of Jesus video. And as I was sitting there in quiet contemplation, it occurred to me, I was like, oh, I haven't tithed from last week, and I'm already almost to the next week's check. I was like, oh man, I didn't mean to take so long to do that. I didn't mean to drag my feet. And I was like, how much was last week's tithe? And I couldn't remember what my check was, but it was a smaller check that week because I didn't work a lot of shifts. And I was going to tithe. I just kept feeling the number $50 for that week. And so I just had planned on tithing like $50 to some charities that I like to donate to, and I hadn't gotten around to it yet. And it occurred to me that was about the exact same amount of money that I was shorted on my tips last night between that one table and one other one that was around the same time. And I was like, wow, God, I am so sorry, for starters, that I was spiritually lazy and I dragged my feet on my tithe. And it wasn't even like I didn't want to do it. I wasn't worried necessarily. I didn't feel scarcity. I just got busy and the week got away from me. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm sorry I didn't prioritize you. That would have hurt my feelings, and I'm sorry that thank God that God doesn't, get hurt feelings, hopefully. And so I'm sorry for that. And when we're not prompt or quick to act on spiritual action or take an action that we know we're supposed to take, it's called being spiritually lazy. And that can create the need for a process. But it also occurred to me that, wow, my tithe is, tithing is 10%. And that's half of what an expected gratuity is on a check. Your minimum tip should be no less than 20%. And I was like, wow, God, you're only asking for 10%, and I didn't get that to you on time. And it made me think differently about tithing, because I thought, wow, God takes care of me, and God makes sure I have food on the table, and God makes sure I have something to drink, something to wear, and I'm taken care of. He waits on me on my whole life in regards to God provides for me. God watches over me. He takes care of me. So would I tip the Creator? Of course. Would you screw over the Creator? Because I was like, man, that table screwed me over. And I this is what a pleasure looks like broken down, right? Because And it's funny too, because I was not face to face with the Creator. I didn't see the Creator in that moment. I was annoyed at the table. I knew on some level, I probably was earning it from some reason. And I was very clear about going to work. I was like, whatever I get in this shift, I'm going to deserve. But in the moment when I was annoyed with them, I couldn't just release the annoyance and be like, yeah, I see how it's all connected. I was like, meh, I was having my egotistical meltdown and fit. And I mean, it wasn't I wasn't being a big diva or anything, but servers, we blow off steam or whatever. But yeah, so I was like, wow, I would never stiff God or Jesus, I wouldn't not tip them. And so what we give, in charity or to the church, or when we give our tithe, right? That's like we're giving it to God, and we're paying God back, or paying God, being a light on behalf of God, but giving that money back to God so that God can use it to help others, right? And so, yeah, it just struck me like, because in my Kabbalah class too, one of the things that came up was fear to tithe because of fears of scarcity, and fears that there won't be enough, and doubts that the needs won't be met, right? And it's so interesting that all of that lined up this week. And so I thought about it this afternoon, in the morning, and I was like, oh, I need to do that today. And I started to do something else, and I was like, no, I need to prioritize this to make sure it happens and it doesn't get put off again. So I tithed, and then I got, I think maybe within an hour or so, got a text message that I was going to be on the patio, but I had a good party out there. And it was like a business party, another 11. So the ladies that were difficult yesterday, it was a table of 11 ladies. And then I had exactly the opposite table tonight. It was like a table of good business people. It was 11. They spent more money, and I was tipped properly by them. And so it was interesting how quick the grace, when we reconnect, the grace is there instantly. And I just thought it was so profound how the karmic backlash happened so quickly with the holding of the funds. Like, okay, if you're releasing this shift and you want me to give you whatever shift you deserve, of course that went well the first day that I did that, because then it was like, oh, look at me. When I pray that I, surrender the shift to the Creator, good things happen. I get the shift that I want, even though I trusted and I didn't say what I wanted, and I didn't, demand to have it my way. And it turned out better. But it's so funny because the next test was, okay, well, how are you going to react when the shift doesn't go your way? Do you still surrender the shift to me? Are you still willing to be grateful for your portion, even when you do get gypped a big chunk of money? And how do you respond? And so in the meantime, I realized in hindsight, so I wasn't face to face with the Creator, but I did see the Creator's back. So I saw the Creator when he was on the way out of the restaurant. I was like, okay, I get it. I get what happened. And that is so profound. So I just thought that was really interesting. And the pause, what a pleasure. Why is this in my movie? Like, you guys see what I'm saying about there's a message in what the things that are happening to us. And they're not necessarily straightforward or obvious all the time. And so the message today, or that message of that table, shorting me the tip, and wasting my time, and not being sensitive about time with me. They were taking so long. I was taking so long, and I wasn't helping the Creator help others, and I was slowing the Creator's work down, and I didn't even tip the Creator properly after all of that, right? And it's so interesting how even the very next day, the exact money amount that I should have been tithing was shorted me. And then as soon as I realized it and made the adjustment and appreciated the lesson and the process and recognized it, it was like, okay, that money came back the next day. Isn't that wild? I mean, we always say, oh, isn't that wild? But that's exactly how the universe works. Isn't it magical? I love it. All right. So what do we need to know for the week ahead? How are we directing our energy and focus? What's going to serve us best? Okay. We've got divine magic and watch your thoughts. So, extra magical energy surrounds your situation right now. Expect miracles. So we need to really mind the seed level of our consciousness, right? Our consciousness that we're in is the seed level of anything, any action that we're taking, anything that we're planting. So we need to have the right mindset and the right energy and the right outlook and the right perspective and the right consciousness when we take action and when we're co-creating our reality. And what have we been learning lately? That we are becoming conscious co-creators and initiating through even to next levels of being, even more proficient manifestors. However, when you're a powerful manifester, you can also manifest quickly in the direction that you don't want to go in as well. So be aware of your thoughts and your words, because you can either speak life and blessing into your life, or you can speak curses and death into your life. So watch your words and watch your thoughts. It's important to only think about what you desire, not what you fear. So, in this year of 2025, the year of our Lord, it is very difficult not to be completely consumed by fear and anxiety and worry and stress. There's just so many things happening all at once every second, and it just keeps snowballing. And so that is the opponent's attempt at keeping us from developing into the vessels of light for the Creator that we, are striving to become, the purpose of our soul. The opponent is always trying to throw us off. And so the worse things get, the more distracted people get, the harder they have to work to catch up. It's like, are they going to keep making time? Are we going to keep making time for our spiritual practice? And I'm saying, nothing can stop me from doing that, because it is the thing that is most vital to me, to keep me sane, and to keep me hopeful, and to keep me going, and to keep my life on the rails and not have chaos erupting everywhere. But when I don't have that routine, there's such a void missing. That's redundant. There's such a void there, and it feels like the most meaningful part of my life is not there, and it just feels like this emptiness and this gap and this space that needs to be filled. So the opponent wants us to be so frightened and so stressed and worried about everything that is only mundane and material, and being completely consumed by the carnal mind. Because when we're consumed by the carnal mind, we're not becoming greater forces of light in the world. We're not pursuing our gifts. We're not sharing our gifts with others. We're not sharing, encouragement or hopefulness with others. We don't even have the energy to get together and fellowship and be, in companionship with others and community. So we definitely need to watch our thoughts. So, set your sights on what it is that you're wanting to create, and think about the steps that you're taking, and think about them being successful and fruitful, right? I've been really honing in my focus the last couple of weeks, and I've been really feeling good about waking up earlier and getting more things in my day before I go to work. And it's been feeling really good, and I feel like that's building momentum. And the more effort that I put into all of the areas of my life, it's like the universe and God are just gonna, it's not universe and God, like God is like moving through his physical manifestation of self as the universe, right? But like, for instance, my niece that I work with, my niece-in-law, she has been, putting in so much effort in the different areas of her life, and she's really been trying. And, she's a creative too. She's an actress. And we all get into these moments where we feel like, oh, is anything going to work out? Is anything ever going to happen again? Like, it just feels like a lull will last forever. And and I work with so many creative people that are into the arts. And so, we share that in common. And she came into work today. She's like, oh my God, like I booked a job, like I booked a part in a feature. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so exciting. So we were so excited. But the first thing I said was, wow, you've been putting in so much effort everywhere. Something had to happen. She had a job that she didn't get recently. And what if she got hired and then she wouldn't have gotten her acting gig, right? And so I think she would have missed out on that because the acting, she really loves it and lights her up, and it's like a gift that she has. So the other thing was practical and logical. It wouldn't have been a bad thing, but it wouldn't have been something uniquely joyous to her either. So the effort that we put in our spiritual work, in taking care of the mundane things around our house and in our life, the effort that we put into changing the way that we feel in our hearts, and that, the changing the way that we perceive the world, like all of these things, we make an effort to get up earlier, to eat better. All the effort that we put in counts, and it's all going into a spiritual bank account, and like good things are coming, right? Let her success be an encouragement and an inspiration. And, even my small little weird, karmic adventures, like let those be signs that you're like, okay, God is like, things are moving, I'm just not seeing it that way. And when you notice, okay, something seemingly unpleasant just happened, and then you can empower yourself to make the connection. Oh, I wonder if that's related. Okay, it's like my Kabbalah teacher David was talking about before. He said, time and space is so merciful because this is what prevents us from receiving instant backlash for our negative actions. Like he said, time and space is mercy. Because he was like, what would happen if like every time we did evil tongue, we broke out in like blisters all over our mouth? Like we would know, oh, I'm not going to do evil tongue because that is so bad that it causes me to have a physical like reaction to it, right? Well, when you start doing the spiritual work, you go into like direct supervision of the creator. And so time and space do shorten, and it's actually becomes kind of a helpful tool that if you do a boo-boo, you get an immediate slap on the wrist. Because if you start becoming a righteous soul, then your actions have more of an effect on the cosmic scales. So the creator doesn't want you to be hung up in sickness or negativity or a process you have to go through, because you can actually help make the world a better place. You're awakened, so you need to be at work doing your thing, helping the creator, right? And so, the spiritual laws are what they are. And if light workers, healers are out there, doing these negative actions, that's not good. And so we have like an immediate consequence to our actions. But it's also very helpful because that discipline helps us train ourselves not to go there, not to do those things, not to have that consciousness in the first place. Break free. We are shedding old patterns, old limiting beliefs, old limiting consciousness that's been holding us back. But in the biggest thing I think that right now is happening is that we are cutting out bad habits. Like we're getting really into the nitty gritty of the mundane, where this isn't like, I feel like we've done so much deep overhaul. We've done so much detailed, nuanced work with our thought process and our consciousness and paying attention to our feelings. And so I feel like we've gotten a lot of progress and growth there underway. But now it's literally about embodying these things in the physical, which requires breaking bad habits and integrating new good habits, right? So break free. Try different ventures and experiences as a way to grow and learn. So this has been coming up a lot recently. So I would say if you're working on building anything or expanding anything, explore your options in the things that you're integrating into your workflow and in your system and things that you're building with. And also, like, break out of your normal every day, every week routine and, mix it up a little bit. Try some new things. It brings new inspiration into your life. And like when you do something out of the ordinary that's like really fun, it like really feeds your spirit and really feeds your soul. And so even just doing new things and taking on new interests, it could put you in new spaces where you meet new people and you get new opportunities to either just expand your friend group and your social circle, or maybe meet someone significant, or maybe make some, deep new friendships. All right. And then, possibly have opportunities, right, for gigs or clients or jobs. Make a decision. Feeling stuck or indecisive, listen to your intuition and make a decision. Now, I mean, obviously, if there's something that you're like stuck between and you keep oscillating back and forth, that's keeping you stalled. But I also believe that this is talking about taking on a very decisive energy where like it's like we have clarity. We have certainty. We're not wishy-washy. We can own our choices. We're not afraid of a mistake. Right? If there's a mistake, great, learning experience, and we just pivot, shift, try one option. If it doesn't work, great, course correct, not the end of the world. I think so many times, like, people can be afraid of making decisions and choices because they're so afraid of it being wrong, or of making a mistake or wasting time, or, I know just as a Libra myself, I can like suffer over making a choice about something that doesn't even matter in the end anyway. Like in film production, sometimes for my job, I would have to go out to like the grocery store and buy what's called craft service for the crew. And that's like the snacks that everybody eats all day. And people in the entertainment industry, not just the entertainers, but even like the crew, they can be really particular and really just like fragile about their foods and what they like and what they don't like and what diet they're on or what allergies they have. And so I would have to like think about this when I would go grocery shopping, and sometimes I would just get into like indecision, overwhelm, and I would just be frozen, and it would take my shopping errand so much longer, right? So think about that, like in our lives. How many times are we like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this thing? How many years do you think about breaking up with someone? At least months. Nobody's like, you know what? I was thinking about the other day, I was going to break up with my so-and-so. I think I just will. Usually we suffer over it for weeks, months, sometimes years, like people avoid these things. People who want to explore new careers or new jobs, or maybe if they think they want to move somewhere else, they might talk about it for weeks, months, years, and just be so indecisive. Oh, what if this, what if that, what if that? And it's like, what if we just tried? But the thing is, what that does is that it dilutes the potency of your signal, of your vibration, of your frequency, right? So when we're really decisive, it demonstrates our certainty. And there's like this confidence and groundedness and assuredness that we have that comes from our connection with the Creator, knowing that like, okay, we're going to get through this. Like, God's not going to abandon me now, not in this one decision that I have to make, right? So it shows faith, it shows trust, it shows that you trust that you can recover, or be resilient, and God's going to take care of you, and that everything is going to be okay, and you're strong enough and you're resourceful enough to see it through. So that confidence, that certainty. There's this groundedness to that, and it's very magnetic. And so I think that increases your flow, your magnetism, the alignment that you get into with that vibe with the creator, right? Because the creator's decisive, the creator's certain. And the more we share affinity with the creator, the closer we draw to the creator, which puts us in that bosom of that wing of protection, under the wing of the creator. It's like you're protected, you're provided for, you're held close. But only when we're in the vibrational resonance, right? Okay, so this week we are really paying attention to our thoughts. We're not getting into a rut. We're being really courageous about breaking out of a rut and trying new things and being bold and having fun. But there's a lot of magical potential right now. So we need to direct that with intention, and we need to definitely avoid evil eye and evil tongue. So we're in Binha Matzarim. That's the right way to say it, Binha Matzarim. The 3 weeks, and this period is running into August. It straddles Cancer season and Leo season. And so during these 3 weeks, we are going to be challenged with certain things. And so there's like extra challenge and pressure right now. But the things that will give us grace, so like the more we can do the inner transformation amidst these challenges and tests, this is like initiation period. And so the more that we can positively transform during this time, the more miracles are open and available to us. So if you're doing good at setting new habits, even taking small steps, being consistent with yourself, it's going to open up like exponentially disproportionate miracles for you, right? So 2 actions that we can adopt right now, or behaviors rather, that will give us more grace, that will open us up for more grace and more mercy and more miracles, is to, instead of evil eye or evil tongue on a person, cast good eye, which is having a positive outlook, having positive expectations, giving people the benefit of the doubt, believing, the best about people, having a positive outlook on the situation. So that is one thing. And then the other thing was, hold on, let me think. Surrendering, letting go, right? Letting go. So if you can keep yourself from evil tongue and evil eye, don't be jealous, don't cast judgment, don't be critical. If you can one up that and believe the best in others and think positively and have a positive outlook and a loving outlook, and then in addition to that, surrender your expectations and plans and attachments to the creator. Let go. Let go with total trust, knowing that like there's nothing, you don't really need anything. You're whole and complete. It's all good. It's all good, right? We're good to go. In this moment, everything's fine. I need of nothing, right? The creator's got it under control. Whatever I do need will show up when I need it. So once we don't need something, then it doesn't have power over us anymore. It doesn't own us. It doesn't pull the strings. It's not our master. So when we don't need something, we can walk away from it. We can take it or leave it. Then we are the sovereign, not that thing. And so then when we are the sovereign and we don't need the thing because we're already complete with the fulfillment of the creator, like the creator's going to bring me whatever I need. It doesn't matter. Then we are... I'm sorry, I'm like, it's been hot several days and work has been like a lot. So I lost the last part of that sentence. I just like, mid-sentence just went away. Oh, but for the grace. Oh yeah, so we're looking at people with the good eye, and then we're surrendering the outcomes, just like I did with my shift. Okay, when I surrendered the shift, I was like, God, I always pray, I want to have a good section. I want to have good guests and I want to, you know, make this amount of money. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'm just setting specific positive intentions for the night. But then what happens is if I don't get that evening, there's something frustrating about it because I had my heart set on that. And so I had to learn in these recent past few days, I'm going to get the shift I deserve. And I'm happy about that. I understand that whatever happens in the shift, good or bad, this is part of my karmic portion. And I'm either bringing in blessings or I'm working off negativity, but both are good, right? So it doesn't matter. The shift is up to the creator. Creator, if you want me to work my butt off and work off some negativity, you know, I'm here for you, right? Just do what you will with me. I'm yours. So this week I've had a myriad of experiences at work, but I've had good averages as far as like the money and things, and which is very different from last July. Usually in July, August at the restaurant, it's very quiet and it's like we barely get a shift. So this summer has definitely been more abundant. So just giving you guys that testimony. The Phoenix. Wow, we've literally been using the Phoenix as a metaphor so much recently, but that's literally this moment that we're in. It's like we are burning away the old self that holds us back, that is causing us pain, grief, sorrow, chaos, regret, remorse, all those things, those old things that are no longer really appealing to us, things that aren't really, you know, lighting us up or supporting our growth or our becoming, you know, our awakening and our elevation. It's just like, we're just like, yeah, you know, I'm letting the old, you know, distant past me burn away, and there's a new self rising. And so recently, I think the moment that we've been in is that whole sifting through the ashes, reflection, evaluation. We're in retrograde season right now. So it's all about looking inward, reevaluating, not only reevaluating our own perceptions and beliefs and outlook and things like that, but also reevaluating our plans and our structures and how we have things set up and built upon. Do we want to tweak some things before we move forward and launch new things and start new chapters? So the Phoenix, resurrection, surrender to change. Love that. Let's get one more card and we're out of here. The Swan Queen, transformation. Wow. Intuition and patience. So just, I mean, first of all, in the middle of the summer, it feels so nice to look at this wintry scene. Oh, so crisp, so refreshing. I'm steaming just looking at it. So put it on ice for a second. We want to charge forward, but it's best to let the seed sprout in good time. And in this moment, the best way we can direct our energy is towards our own inner transformation. The Kabbalists will point out that during the Bin HaMatzurim, it's not a good time to try to draw in new light and try to go into an overhaul, right, of bringing in newness. It's not a good time to start new things. It's not a good time to launch. But what it is a good time to do is the inner transformation. It's a time to do healing. Like that is the action that will give you the most momentum. Like you could try to start something right now and launch it and it's just not going to go anywhere and all your energy can be put in it and you're going to be going in circles. Like one of those big wheels that can't get like traction, right? But what will give you exponential growth and will propel you forward like crazy and can expand the clocks and time for you to like propel you forward is doing the inner work, doing the spiritual work. Don't feel like you're being irresponsible. You're actually being the most responsible and you're doing the thing that's going to give you the most value and the most bang for your buck in return. So focusing on the spiritual work right now, focusing on the inner work, focusing on reflection, focusing on the planning stages, not the execution quite yet. And if it is like execution things, it's like little, very doable, bite-sized steps that build infrastructure. It's not necessarily like pulling out the curtain and cutting the grand opening tape quite yet. So we're in this 3 weeks. I'm honestly not sure where we are in the 3 weeks. I have to go back and find out when we officially started. I know that it is going into August. So we might have been talking about it in the Kabbalah Sitter before it began, and the energy kind of starts presenting even beforehand. I always feel like a shadow period whenever there's like one of those big cosmic influences coming in. And also apparently the Schumann resonance was like off the charts, has been jumping around like crazy the last few days. And then there was like a total gap, like one of those big white bars down through the middle of it. And then it like came back on for a minute and then it went total black. So literally it's like humanity is having a reboot and a reset, right? This is the Phoenix moment. That interruption in the Schumann's resonance thing, it was like the death of the Phoenix and then the rebirth of the Phoenix. It's like turning off the modem of reality and then turning it back on after letting it sit for 10 seconds. It's wild and crazy, kids. It's wild. All right, that is all for tonight. Tomorrow we will be back together for our middle of the week alchemy message. That is when we unpack how we're approaching this week's spiritual lessons. Until then, may peace be with you, and I hope that you guys have insight and clarity into the tests that are coming your way. Let me know in the comments, like if you guys have been experiencing any of the pressures of Ben Hamatzarim, and if you want to give us some detail, what's been going on for you. All right, peace.